All right, what's going on, everybody? I know I haven't made a video lesson in a while, and that's just because I haven't been taking any trades. The past couple weeks have been pretty slow. You just got to be very picky, and I have just been focusing on other things in life and work, and I check in on the market every day. I'm always taking a peek at it and see what's going on, but nothing really that's kind of sticking out to me. And if there is a play, it's a play that I missed it, and so there's no revenge trading or anything like that. So it's just been a slow couple weeks. We're starting to see a little bit more action these past couple days. So this is just my one and only for the week so far, and it was a rough one, let me tell you. So I'm just going to dive into it here. So I saw it coming up in here when it was touching 4, and the whole play was, I'm not touching it in here. I want to wait for the multi-day break. And so if you look back, this has kind of a crappy history. It doesn't have a history of running. So I had the big gap up here and push up towards 6, but then faded, finished red. And then let's see. This day here finishes low. This day here spikes up, finishes low. This day here is the day that we got the big gap up and push on volume, but then finished down at its lows. So it doesn't have a good history of, holding its gains. And it's something you really got to keep an eye on, to whether if you're thinking like, okay, maybe I should just take a snipe on this, take my quick 10, 20%, or do I want to give this a little bit more time, maybe swing it overnight and see how this, if we can get a day 2 mover, or just a day 2 continuation. And so as of right now, this is holding up really nicely. And I would not be surprised to see a gap, just because you have so many shorts thinking the same thing. That now that it is spiking, it spiked and broke out and held into the close. There's definitely a good possibility of some kind of gap. So it's definitely going to be on watch for tomorrow to see how this opens up in the morning. But to dive into how exactly I traded it, I broke all my rules today. Completely broke all my rules. Today was, even though I finished the day green, was just an absolute terrible trading day for me. So it spiked up and was kind of chopping around. And then once it started to hold here is where I started to take some positions. And I was busy at work, and I wanted to get a starter in here, and I ended up taking like double the size, and then decided to add in here, and I had like 350 shares total, and I was risking off 440. So as you can see, I ended up having to stop out, and I ate $100 loss, which was way bigger than any loss I like to take. I've recently been sizing down dramatically to like no more than $100 position size. And so to be at like, from going from $100 position size to over $1,000 position size, that's a big jump. So it was really stupid in my part, because I was even telling myself it just came from 360 all the way up to 495. It's going to have to consolidate a little bit. It's going to have some kind of pullback. It's not just going to hold those gains perfectly and then rip up to new high a day. And so I had to cut the loss. Was not happy about it, but who is happy about cutting a loss? So I ended up getting, so I cut it all at 440, and then I added 50 shares at 439 when it looked like it was putting in a bottom here. It was closer towards that high of day break and VWAP. So it was just a starter. And this is where I was thinking like, okay, now if I never took that initial trade on it and took that loss, how would I be looking at this for, to actually to trade it the right way? And I don't necessarily think that taking this starter here was exactly the best way. I saw it as, you know, it was closer towards the high of day break. It's got some support here. It's got VWAP right here. I'm really just going to risk off VWAP. And it's had a nice little pullback off the high. You know, it did test a breakout level. So I just wanted to kind of get a little starter here. And if I had to cut it, I was going to cut it. And it wasn't going to be it was going to be nothing. You know, it was going to be a super small loss. And that's just kind of your starter. And then once it worked out, it got a nice perk back up into the 480s, and we got a dip, and we held. And so at 479 is where I slapped like 300 shares, and then instantly got a nice push up into the 430s. And I tried to get a sell off at 435 and missed it by like a second. So then I waited. We got a little dip. I was a little nervous right in here when it came back down to like the 470s, the high 470s, just tapped it. And was just a little nervous, you know, because I did have bigger size and I was trying to make back my loss. And so I was a little uncomfortable that it had came all the way back, especially since I almost had my sell off for my 10% right there at 535. But stayed patient. You know, I was risking off of this 466. And you could look, I'm going to zoom in. It's just so it finally put in a bottom. We got the nice perk. We got the confirmation off my starter. Dipped, held the breakout level, and once we started to perk back off that dip, and we were getting some nice volume. I took a slap 300 shares at 479. And tried to just get my quick sell off for my 10%, 435. I mean 535. Sheesh. And got the dip after hours. And we got the push, but it was a weak height. It was a weak break. I sold it at 540 and just took my gains. And we're just gonna see how this holds up. As of right now, it's still holding trend, still holding the breakout level. So we will just see how this opens up and what it does tomorrow. Pretty excited to see, just, you know, even if I don't play it, just excited to see what it does and just get that experience. You know, you learn from it, and I think that's a key thing. You don't have to always trade these things. Just watch the price action if you can. You know, I know most people are busy, just like me. I work full time, so I'm busy. But if you can, you know, watch the price action, especially around those key levels. And just kind of watch how it plays out. You know, take screenshots of it after, you know, maybe take a screenshot of it before. You know, if you trade from your phone like I do, sometimes I'll take a screenshot of it in the moment, and then I'll take a screenshot of it at the end of the day to see how it finished. So like in the moment, it was holding this breakout level. I took my first entry. I took a screenshot, and I was like, okay, this is holding up like this right now, and we'll just see, then we'll take another screenshot of it at the end of the day and to see what it's done. And it does help, you know, it just getting that muscle memory of learning these chart patterns and just kind of how they move. So another thing is, if you do have TD Ameritrade, you can go to on demand and you can go back in history and look at and like rewatch price action in like level 2. So I haven't used it too much, to be honest. I've only used it a couple times, and so I don't know too much about it, but I do hear really good things about it, and it is pretty cool from the couple times I've used it. So just in case nobody knew about that, check out on demand. You're gonna have to play with it, maybe watch a YouTube video on it. I know if I wanted to use on demand right now and try to go back, I'd probably have to watch like a YouTube video on it, just to get a little refresher on exactly how to use it. But just know that it is there and that you can use it. It's a pretty cool tool. But yeah, that's basically it, you know. And I think the lessons for me today was just gotta have the discipline, you know. It's okay to take a starter here, but I just had too big a size and I added into a loser, which is a big no-no. Never add into a loser. I should have just cut my starter and just waited like I wanted to. You know, the initial plan was to let this come up and test and wait towards, you know, the end of the day, almost into the close, to see what it's doing. I had to have some alerts set. So if I would have just waited, even if I never even took a starter here and just been more patient, just taking it from like how I did from 479 to 540, just take your quick 10%, and that's when I had size. I had 300 shares. If I didn't need the 50, maybe I take 400 or 500 shares and just take that quick snipe real quick. And if it breaks below this little dip at 466, I just cut it, and the loss isn't very big. I'm keeping it very under control and managed. So I just didn't like how I managed it on the front side, and I let it play out and ended up taking a really nice snipe on it and finishing green $130. So very nice. Happy with it. I'm happy with how I played it the second time. Obviously, I'm very upset with how I traded this the first time, and so it's just need to remember to keep the small size. I'm not here to make money yet. I'm here to just learn the process and just learn these patterns and making sure I'm trading these patterns to the best way possible. I want to just have my risk as low as possible and my gains to be just to maximize those as much as possible. So that's really it for me today. I'm not going to keep this one very long, this video going very long. Pretty simple trade. I know Fatty took it too, and he made like $600 on it, so my small little win means nothing, and his is like, that's how much some people make in a whole week, so it's literally just those 1-2 trades a week that can make your whole week, as long as you play them right. So he will be making a video lesson today. I'll upload that later when I get it. This is just kind of how I played it, how I saw it, and my thought process on it, how I fucked it up, and then how I traded it the correct way and still managed to be green on the trade. So I hope it makes sense. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment. We would love to answer your questions. And if you do love the videos and the channel, please subscribe. It helps us out. And yeah, let's all get better together, and let's kill it. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later.